Previously on The Locker Room.
I'm going to go with United, but I don't think we're going to play pretty. I think we're going to play counter-attack football. But our home record, here's our home record. Our home record against them, we've won 10 out of the last 13. So we don't give much away at home against Liverpool. But if it's going to be a win, it's going to be a hard-fought win.
I'm taking Liverpool. Sorry, Gary Bailey, I have to.
Have they got it defensively? We'll see.
We will play this back to you on Monday.
It's hard now. For Napoli, it's not easy.
Okay.
I'm going for Valencia. They're going to be resting players because they want to stick to Manchester
I hope they win,
United.
and then you can stick. Yeah, I hope they win, actually.
Welcome to The Locker Room. Coming up on today's show, we have a look ahead to Barcelona against Chelsea in the Champions League this week. We'll be asking if Cristiano Ronaldo is in with a shot at winning the Pichichi this season. And will there be a twist in the title race in Italy? Before we begin today's show, I think the panel owe a few apologies. First of all, we all owe an apology to Gary Bailey.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Why?
Manchester United won?
They won against Liverpool.
They won?
You all said Liverpool.
I didn't watch the game either.
First half, excellent.
Yeah.
Second half, where were they?
No, we won. That's all we had to do was win the game. We're
I
second
said
in the
yesterday,
league.
De Gea was the best playmaker for Man United. Well done, Mourinho.
Secondly, you all owe me an apology. Valencia did win for the first time in a long time at the Sanchez
Impressive
Pizjuan.
win as well.
OK, let's talk about an even bigger game than that one. Barcelona against Chelsea coming up this week in the Champions League. Let's start by asking if Iniesta starts, if he's fit to go.
He looks as if he's fit. It looks as if he's fit. If he's fit, he starts. They'll need him against this dangerous
And then
Chelsea
along with
team.
him, I reckon Paulinho. They've got to go four across. That 4-4-2 of theirs with Sergio Busquets, Rakitic, Paulinho.
Yeah.
That'll be the four. Dembele off the bench if they need
Messi
him.
well rested as well.
That's the button that you
He
just...
changes everything. We all know
He
that.
rested. He didn't play.
Well, maybe he didn't rest because the baby.
Congratulations to Messi on the birth of
What's
his third
the
son.
name of the
Chiro.
baby?
Chiro.
So every night he'll say Cheerio.
There's a new Messi in the world. Defenders need to beware. No, but listen, Iniesta coming straight back from injury to start a game. You'd go for that, Thomas?
I think this is a very tough game. And if history serves me well, in 2011, 2012, when Mr. Torres scored late and put Barca out against all odds, I've taken Chelsea from day one for the reasons that I think that they are a team in a one-off game can get a result. If the stats are good, it could be 3-0 for Chelsea at home. Willian hits the woodwork twice and scores as well. A mistake allows Messi to score the goal. You know what they had? One shot on goal, by the way, Barca in that game. With all the possession they had, it's very hard to break down Alonso, Moses, Rudiger. That's a good unit right there. And going forward, Pedro, if he starts, Hazard is a false nine, and Willian are going to cause problems because of their speed and their athleticism on the counter.
Maybe at home, Chelsea look good. I agree with you there, but at the Nou Camp away from home, I don't think. It hasn't been the same Chelsea. They've been away to a number of grounds, including Old Trafford, not been impressive. And if they play Hazard as a false nine, they're going to sit back and defend. I just think it's a matter of time before...
They play like Man United. They play like Man United.
Not as good as Man United. I just think it's a matter of time before Barcelona get the breakthrough.
Do you give your friend Conte any chance?
Nah. Well, what Thomas said is, I agree with him 100%. But they should have won that game at home. They shot once on target. They didn't play a good game. But now you got to win in Barcelona to go through, or at least draw 1-1. I think Barcelona at home, they're just too strong for any team now in Europe. Messi didn't play this weekend. So, you know, when he's fit, when he's not playing too many games every 3 days, I think he's just unstoppable.
And
so I think...
Sorry, go ahead.
No, I think that they want to win the Champions League like Real.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They have the Liga there. They want to win the Champions League. It's the most important competition.
Something else about your friend Conte is that the next week is massive because they play Leicester away in the quarterfinals. So let's assume they lose to Barca, which I think they will. They go away to Leicester quarterfinal, then they've got Spurs home in the league, and they could be out and stuck in fifth. Could be a bad 10 days for him.
We're not even going to bother doing predictions for that one because it sounds as though everyone's just going to say Barca.
Chelsea.
Thomas, what you say?
You know what? Alba goes forward. Willian would get behind him. Hazard 1v1 against PK. Tough matchup for him as well. Chelsea doesn't concede in big games. Conte is Still a better coach, in my opinion, right now than Valverde. Valverde's going to prove that. So they got quality still, guys. They have quality.
Could have said exactly the same thing when they were playing against the champions of the world, Real Madrid. And what was that score? 3-0 for Barcelona.
Anyway.
And Barcelona is a better, Chelsea is a better,
they don't
not as good a
face
team as Real
3-4-3
Madrid.
systems, Rocky. It's a 3-4-3 that the no play in Spain is different for
They're
Valverde
dangerous. I said
to
right
figure
at
it
the
out.
start.
They couldn't
Chelsea's
figure it out
dangerous.
against Chelsea.
That's what you're going
You're
for
going to have to be
Barcelona.
careful.
He's on his own, I'm afraid. He's on his own on this one.
Let's continue to talk about Barcelona, though, because Ousmane Dembele got the start this weekend against Eibar. Now, the jury had still been out for some, but his performance in this game will have no doubt silenced a few of those critics, Ray. What did you make of him?
It was a good performance, but the opposition was the worst La Liga team that I have ever seen.
Malaga.
They were horrendous. Their attitude from the get-go was just lethargic. They were pedestrian. They didn't try to pressurise, and if they did, it's the worst pressing I've ever seen from any team. They were horrific. The kid got his chance. Messi's out of the team. He felt maybe now, without looking at the greatest football player ever, I can really fluff me feathers. Maybe he had a little bit of space. He played well. But against that Malaga side, I wouldn't put too much into it.
First thing, the critics, like always, don't know what they're talking about. First thing. Because you cannot criticize a player that went to Barcelona, was injured after the second game, didn't play for 4 months, whatever, how many months it is. Before you criticize one, you got to make him play at least 20 games in a row. Then you can say, he's worth 160 or he's not worth 160. And you can criticize him. You can't criticize him when he plays 20 minutes a game.
It's too early.
But these people, I don't know how they work. These people that criticize, these press people, I don't even know what to call them. I don't know why they shouldn't be getting money every week. They shouldn't be getting paid every week, every month, whatever it is.
He finally showed his ability. There's no question, Gary. He's got it, and the setup for the goal was spectacular.
Has he played 2 games in a row?
No,
90 minutes. How can you say someone's good, someone's not?
Agreed. I agree with you. But here's where he's lucky, is that he's able to come to a team that's playing really well. So there's no pressure. Imagine if they were struggling, Barca, and you just paid 160.
There is pressure, Gary, because you're playing with the best players in the world.
But here's a story. What if Barca were 3rd or 4th? Then there's real pressure, because then they're saying, hey, this is our most expensive signing. Come on, son, you got to do the business. He's lucky that he can come in and out, take his time. He's a young kid at 20. He needs time to settle in. It's been perfect in that way for him, that he can come in nice and gently.
He changed your mind a bit at the weekend.
Yeah,
I realise I said Eibar, by the way, Malaga.
He certainly did, because people talk about Dembele being an athletic guy that needs to have space behind a back 4, can play in tight spaces. On the assist on Coutinho, he actually showed to me certain qualities that I wasn't sure. He recognized space. He is fast. He got away from people. He cut with his right foot and let the defender come by. He played with his head up and fed Coutinho beautifully. And then the back heel from Coutinho was brilliant. But in that little play there, you can say that this guy.
But he did all that at Dortmund. We saw it in spades in Dortmund.
So what are you saying?
A good player doesn't become a bad player overnight. He's had a poor start. And I'm not arguing with you. I'm not arguing with you. I'm just embellishing what you're saying.
We all are.
The type of player that he is going to, going to that club with that talent pool at 20 years old, it's overwhelming. It's overwhelming for him as well. It will be good eventually.
You speak about overwhelming, you speak about pressure. Andre Gomez spoke candidly in an interview with Panenka magazine this week about the pressure he feels he's under at Barcelona. He says at the moment he's ashamed to go out on the street right now. Quote, I'm not enjoying the thing I like to do. Maybe it's not the correct word, but it's turned into a bit of a hell. This is really not nice to see or to read.
Yeah, he actually said he's scared to leave home. And I'm looking at this going, let's compare to Beckham after the '98 World Cup. They were burning effigies of him every ground he went to. That was tough. He got through it. From Real Madrid, Woodgate, in one of his first matches, was his first match?
Sent off and an own goal.
Sent off and an own goal. So, come on, at 24, if he was a young kid of 18, I get it. 24, you've got to man up, surely, Thomas.
Gary,
yeah?
You got 5 stadiums in the world. San Siro.
Yeah.
Manchester.
Yeah.
Bernabeu.
Yeah.
Bayern Munich and Nou Camp.
Yeah.
They're the 5 hardest stadiums to play in the world.
Sure.
When you stop the ball there, it's not like stopping the ball at another field, at another stadium. You have 110,000 people. You can't stop. You can't make mistakes when you stop the ball.
But you've got to be big enough to handle it. Surely.
What does that mean? That you can't play in these things. Ancelotti used to say, not everyone can play in San Siro.
Right.
I had teammates that would hide. When I had the ball and I had to give it back, that wouldn't come. They would hide behind the.
So our final analysis is that Gomes doesn't belong there. Is that what we're saying? Because I think
he's not a Barcelona quality player for me.
Yeah, if I see him with Portugal, that's his concern too now.
Well, Valencia, did you see him play for Valencia? He was tremendous.
Correct.
Yeah,
the coaches are going to. I know exactly what happens. The coaches call the national teams and go, "Yeah, you need minutes. I want you to get minutes." Dani Ceballos, okay, on the 20 European champion with Spain, lit it up. Early on, all of a sudden, morale, and doesn't play. He wasn't happy because he wants to develop and go further. Does he need to move on as well? I think that's important. It's also important, though, that the coach maybe needs to put an arm around the guy.
Thomas,
which I did. Well,
come on. The previous coach did that. He doubled down on Gomes every time. This coach is not quite as much as Luis Enrique, but he's played 75 games. True. He's started in 35 of them. And if that's your talent expectations in Barcelona, Andre Gomes has been like this. I think it's inarguable. His physical attitude, his technical ability, his mental ability. And hey, I felt sorry for him here in this interview. Sure. I mean, he sounds anxious and he's ashamed of his performances. The kid is a quality player. We saw it for Portugal and for Valencia. It's there, but not with this team.
When I went to Juventus, my father played in Juventus 30 years ago. He says to me, Bobo, that shirt is very, very heavy. Yeah, it's a very heavy. And I was going, what do you mean? You're gonna understand when you put that shirt on Sundays. It's a very heavy shirt.
It's a great
not everyone can play. Not everyone can play.
What
a great lane is that, though, from Bobo's dad. It's a heavy shirt.
Still to come, is Cristiano Ronaldo still in with a shot at winning the Pichichi this season? And is the Serie A title race still going to throw up some more twists? We hope to talk Manchester United, Sevilla as well. Stick around. Sadly, it's been quite an ugly week in the football world, and some of the moments have left us open-mouthed, scratching our heads and wondering, what were you thinking? That's just what we were asking the Lille fans invading the pitch after the team's draw with Montpellier. Hundreds confronting the home team with security personnel unable to prevent this invasion. Lille, a second bottom. The fans of the club directed the anger towards the players and club president Gerard Lopez in recent weeks, and this all boiled over onto the pitch at the weekend. Lille fans, what were you thinking? To the Greek Super League next, PAOK owner Ivan Savides storming onto the pitch with a gun during his side's match with AEK Athens. Trying to confront a ref over a late goal that was allowed and then was disallowed by officials. I can't believe these scenes.
What does the ref do when the guy walks up with a gun? I mean, what are you going to say? You've got to change your decision, haven't you? It's crazy.
Run was Christian Vieri's answer to that one.
A good credit to the Greek Football League as well for saying, you know what, this is ridiculous, stop it. We're not starting until this is resolved. Well done.
Like Sergio Ramos, when nature calls, you've got to go. And when you've got to go, you've got to go. So, soiled himself on the pitch at the weekend.
Soiled himself.
Had to have a little run.
Where'd he go?
Because he had the runs.
He had to go to the bathroom, man. He's trapped himself.
Friends on the pitch. And in fact, that's how Zidane explained what had happened afterwards. He was very frank and he said, yep, he pretty much pooped himself. They all kind of know what's going on here. And then he came back on and played the rest of the game.
Will they still be called the Royal Whites?
And will they still be considered getting a clean sheet?
Oh, can you imagine? Nice one. Can you imagine in the locker room afterwards saying, you know, Sergio, what were you thinking? I mean, really? Hey, like you say, nature calls.
They definitely didn't keep a clean sheet in this one anyway. Did it ever happen to you in a football game that you had to go?
Yes.
And
absolutely. Well, it was at the start of the game, just a minute into the game. I just sat down.
You eating French fries before the game?
Yeah, it was just a wee, you know. But I got my little weapons out and had to go. But nobody saw it. No, everybody thought I was tying my socks.
Thomas,
I was sitting down.
Real quick, in the old APSL with the striker who played in the road, Ozzy Ardiles, believe it, played for us. 200 people in the stands, locker room is a mile away. Ozzy goes to me, Tomas, let's sit underneath the stand. Sit underneath the stand. Water trickling on us, and there's a guy standing on the top of the stand. And you know what? World Cup winner, he goes like this. Okay, boys, let's go to the second half. Unbelievable.
Pure class. Gary Bailey.
It happened once to a centre-half in a match where we were 1-0 up at Ipswich, and I won't say the guy's name because he was quite well known back then.
Come on, Gary.
7 minutes. Okay, it was Paul McGrath.
Hey!
About 7 minutes to go, he just walks off, my centre-half, and I'm like, what do you... So I had to get Frank Stapleton back to play centre-half, and he goes to the bathroom, he had the runs, but the funniest thing when we held on, we literally held on for 7 minutes, we got battered, came in, said to him, what's up, you had the runs? I said, have you been there for 7 minutes? He said, no, it took me a minute or so. I said, well, why don't you come back on? He said, no, I just thought I'd sit in the bath and relax and wait for you guys. It was 6 minutes.
So good.
You guys
come
held
back and
on, he
help.
couldn't hold on. All right, is Cristiano Ronaldo eyeing the Pichichi is our next question. Messi has 24 goals, Suarez has got 21. Cristiano is up to 18 now, and his 2 goals at the weekend took his tally to 14 goals in the last 8 La Liga games. 6 goals behind Messi.
Yeah.
Do you think that's what he's targeting now?
Well, it's definitely doable. I mean, he's producing some wonderful finishing performances, Cristiano. I mean, here's a great look at it. I mean, he's very, very sharp. Coming into the big cup as well, but in La Liga, you know, Real Madrid, they can score in bunches, and he's going to be the one to capitalise on. I think he could do it.
Where are the stupid critics that were saying that he was finished, he's old, he's...
Phil Shaney in here.
I'm saying the ones in Spain, not the ones in Spain. The ones in America, I'll give you a pass. The ones in Spain, he's finished, he's
He's on a great tear.
A lot of dummies.
But I think Luis Suarez is going to win it, who's been also hot as of late. And the reason being is because Messi is the highest assist man in La Liga. And he shares, because Messi could have had 30. So he's going to give Suarez opportunities in every game to score
Maybe
goals.
he'll let him. Yes or no?
Yes, if he gets service from Carvajal and Modric like he did in that game, then absolutely
I'm
he's got a
going to
chance.
stick with you now because I'm asking if United made it difficult on themselves by not scoring an away goal against Sevilla. They're facing each other this week in the return leg. How do you see it going?
Is Pogba playing?
United, he's like this with injuries, so we don't know. United now are in a good vein of form. 3 wins from 3, beating Chelsea and Liverpool amongst it. They'll give them nothing at Old Trafford.
Beating Chelsea and Liverpool, that's a big feather in the cap.
It is huge, and Sevilla's away from. I mean, they lost 5-1 at Spartak Moscow, drew 1 all the way at Maribor. They're not good travellers.
This strange team, though, Gary.
Home,
I think Sevilla will give them problems because they are a good attacking team, but they are just very inconsistent. I mean, that part of it, you don't know who's going to show up. But if Sevilla score, I tell you, they're a dangerous side. Man United's going to have to be on
0-0 is the
target.
worst result.
Yeah, I don't think. I think we'll see
losing is the
goals.
worst result.
Of course.
Yeah. Guys, if it wasn't for De Gea, on 8 saves, 3 standing on his head, it's 3-0. 3-0. 28 to 8 shots. 12-1 on goal as well. I'm telling you, this is not going to be easy. And by the way, Man United looks a little bit like Atleti. Yes. Yeah, a little bit. Yeah. Well, you know what? They beat Atleti 2 times, Gary Bailey. There you go. Thanks for coming.
I'm going to say,
I'll
wait for the locker room Friday.
Now, there has been a bit of a shift in the Serie A title race. Juventus are now top of the table, and they have an extra game to play as well. But we're going to start by talking about Napoli because Ray Hudson has got something to tell us.
I don't care what happens in the Scudetto. I backed Napoli last year, and I thought they were going to do it. I took them again this year, and I'm praying that they can still do it. But this is the best football team in Italy, bar none. And I don't care what they say. If Juventus are going to win and Napoli needed to win, they were all over Inter. I mean, it was night and day. And the beauty of their football is just exceptional. And Guardiola's right. I mean, Guardiola's been listening to me. This Napoli side decorates. I mean, it's such a beautiful team. Every time I watch Juve, it's like, nah. I'm just saying, I don't care what happens. For me, the champions of Italy, Napoli.
Okay, but come on, defend Juve, Christian, please. They're a much better side.
Listen,
much better.
They beat Udinese at the weekend.
I don't care.
What he
Thanks
said,
to Dybala.
I agree. It's the best playing team in Italy. But at the end of the season, you got to win. You know what I mean? And,
Look at these chances, Bobo.
I agree. I agree. But
it's nice to
at
watch,
the end of the year, you got to win a title.
Yeah.
So if Napoli doesn't win this year, Well, they're never going to win it
I
because
know.
Juve's going to get
Leagues
stronger.
are so predictable. Bloody England, their league gets run away with every season. In Spain, the same thing. In
Look at
France,
this guy,
the same thing.
Dybala.
We need a change in Italy. It's Napoli,
Right.
man. I'm not losing
Napoli.
faith, and I don't care what you say,
Napoli
Bo.
don't
So
have
shut up.
players like Dybala. Huh? Come on,
thing is
Napoli
that-
don't have players
no,
like
no,
Dybala.
no,
Nowhere near.
no
He could-
chance.
And
They're
they got
not
Wednesday.
in the Champions League.
Yeah.
They're out of Europe League even. Not the Coppa Italia. Lose against
Right.
Roma twice. Tie Inter.
Ray, you're
0-0-0-0.
romantic. Ray's a romantic.
Let
Come
me
on.
tell you, it's not an easy run ahead for Juventus. In fact, we had a good look at the fixtures that they've got coming up right now. And don't forget, you've got to factor in the Champions League quarter-final. And that's just assuming that they don't get beyond that right now, because we can obviously tell you the dates of that one.
Ooh.
But these are their remaining fixtures, if you look down at your screens, in the Serie A. And just to chip in there, you've got the 3rd and the 4th of April with the first leg in the Champions League quarter-finals, and the 10th and the 11th with
Hey,
the second
Kate,
leg.
that game on Wednesday is not going to be a walk in the park against Ladia.
No, it's
Atalanta.
not.
They've beaten everyone already this season, and they've got Napoli to come at home, not away.
Benevento is going to beat Juventus.
If they win Wednesday, they're 4 points ahead of
They're not
Napoli.
going to beat Atalanta, Ladia,
absolutely.
the goddess.
Derby d'Italia in San Siro.
No,
coming
anything
up.
can happen. I'm just
Napoli have
saying,
still got to play
Wednesday
them.
is for me is the most important game. If they win that game, they're 4 points ahead
Yeah.
of Napoli.
Okay, top goals when we come back, and I expect to see Dybala in there. Stay with us. Time for our top goals, where this week 40% of the goals are beautiful back heels. I promise you. Not this one, though. Andre Silva, Cristiano.
Fantastic goal. First goal in Serie A, 94th minute. Well, look at this. The header. First post. Amazing.
Gorgeous. Ray, you wanted this one.
Antoine Griezmann, take a look at how he absolutely bamboozled. Look at his touch here, and then the drag back, and then an extra drip of honey on it, and then the catapult. Magisterial.
Thomas Gomus.
There you go. Sinus Gamus coming in the 86 minutes by Fatih Terim, the great coach, making the right decision. Nice little bike.
Gary Coutinho.
Oh, it's a fantastic run to the near post. He's gone past the near post and still manages to drag it with the back of his heel. Have a look at it from there. Great bit of skill. Brilliant.
Another beautiful back heel here. Ciro Immobile with his back to goal. An absolutely spectacular goal. A flying back heel.
That's not a goal.
No,
It's a
it
goal.
is.
He
That's
meant
just
it.
luck. He didn't know what he was doing here. Come on. Oh, my God.
Bursting bubbles here.
The beauty of that last goal, he doesn't have another option, so he's got to gamble, man. He's got to gamble. He
just
wins.
Night Soccer.
Jackpot.
I agree with
Monday
you. He
Night
was
Soccer
lucky.
is coming
He was
up
lucky.
after the locker room. George DiMatteis looks back on the best games of the weekend. And please download beIN Sports' official podcast, Football Crazy. It's myself and Kevin Egan, Des Norris producing it as well. It's a fun look at the weekend that was in the football world. Thank you for joining us tonight. We'll see you next time on The Locker Room.
Everton.